And we are live. We are just doing this again. Why? Because we fucking feel like it. And yeah, no one's listening anyway. So,
No, and we're chasing a raccoon that got loose
well,
with a rocket pack.
yeah, that was just one of the little podcast thumbnails that you sent me. I'm like, well, we haven't used this yet, and
Yeah,
it
it
seems messed up. And I'm going to talk about
seems pretty
dreams later.
appropriate for it seems pretty appropriate for this week. And boy, if we're talking about dreams later, I've got some things to talk about. They're going to be
We will,
disturbing. I
because
hope you're ready.
there's because fuck it. Let's just get into it. You don't
Oh,
want to get
fuck
into that?
it.
Well, I will get
Oh,
into
yeah,
that. So So- no,
go
no,
right
just
ahead.
let
Yeah.
me explain. Just let me explain. Because
Mhm.
first of all, I've had this fun theory. Now, it's a theory you can't prove. It's a theory you can't disprove. And yeah, I know it's not real, and you'll understand why. But I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I need an explanation of why dreams exist. Because last 2, 3 weeks ago, you told me a fucked up dream about you visiting me at Blockbuster and what I did in like the secret room.
Oh,
And
the Blockbuster sex call. I forgot
yes,
about that
yeah,
one.
yes, thanks for
Yeah.
that, by the way. And I mean, let's be honest.
Whatever.
If we're being honest, if it was one of the two of us for that, yeah, it'd probably be me. If it was like selling weed out of the back room, it would be you. But anyhow, and whenever
It
we're,
was in my brain.
what is it?
It's
There's always some, truth behind it. But here's my point. Because like this
Nope.
morning I woke up. You know how when you're exhausted, like I
Oh,
sometimes can't
yeah.
sleep, and sometimes if I have to get up in the middle of the night, like 1, 2 o'clock, and I'm up to like 4 or 5, like I try everything to get
Yeah,
back to sleep.
it's a tired but wired. That's what
But
that's
once you
called.
fall asleep, and I have that hour or two because I get up at like 6:30 ish, 6:20, 6:30 ish, and it's like
Hate that.
then you get those quick, fever dreams or like tired dreams,
Yeah.
and like I swear to God,
Yep.
I had this dream this morning where it was almost like Hunger Games, but you had to find the marble, but it had to be your color, but you could change color. It was just fucked up. But so here's a fun theory.
Wow.
I just want to explain this because when we have these dreams, people in general, it's always starring you, but you dream of other people, but it's not exactly
Yeah.
the same. You know what I mean? Like
No, for
I'm
sure.
sure like
Yeah.
you've tried, like your wife might have been in one of your dreams and like it doesn't look like maybe fully her, but it's her, but you know what I mean? There might be a
Yeah.
slight
You
difference.
understand that it's her.
So
Right, exactly. Like in your mind, yeah.
I've come with this theory. And again, I am doing this for the fun of it. Do not think I'm going crazy. Maybe I am. Fuck it. So I think
Okay.
dreams are is in a weird way a strange portal to an alternate reality you. Or if you want to go
Wow.
multiverse Marvel, because think about it, you're seeing yourself, and you don't know. You're coming up with a straight. Like I dreamt when I used to work at CVS that I was waiting for the truck to come. Yes, I know this is exciting, but we are in trees. Like we're in the middle of the forest. I'm like, well, what if this is an alternate reality where we couldn't cut down any trees? This is our lives, and we had to like have tree houses, and it's just the way it works. You know what I mean? Again,
Yeah.
I know they're messed up, but they're always slight alterations, but they're so realistic in the people and they're just differences. I don't know. I'm just like, dreams are fucked up. And I know you've told me a few and you've been not
They are.
sleeping well this last week, but go ahead.
Oh, I got a good one
Go
too.
ahead. Just
Well,
share.
so let me to back up what you said about your theory.
What's the theory?
It's
I mean,
your theory that you said that it's like
what's
an
backing
alternate
up on me?
portal. Well, that I think it's a cool theory that like if you dream, you're going to an alternate, version of you and things like that, right?
Well, you're seeing,
Um,
like it's almost like you're connected to the alternate version of you. And not to interrupt, but think about it this way. For me, and I think it's
yeah,
a lot of people, like once you kind of realize you're dreaming, like in a dream, because your brain just goes, nope, you're done, and you wake up. And that's the way I'm in. Like I'm
sometimes.
majority of times, once I realize it, I'm waking up, and within the
Oh no,
next
I've,
minute.
I've had lucid dreams. I'm not like 100% myself, but I don't know if you ever had because I have a lot of sleep issues. Like I get sleep paralysis. I have night terrors. And by night terrors, I mean like I'll just wake up in the middle of the night screaming bloody murder. And if you don't believe me, you can ask my wife. 'Cause she's the one that has to deal with this crazy shit all the time. I've been a sleepwalker since I was a little kid. And I think it's genetic. Because I'm pretty sure my mom is a sleepwalker too. So I always have had sleep issues, like dramatically. Um, in this way, especially when I'm stressed.
Yeah.
And that's when I'll have the night terrors the most. I mean, when I was younger, uh, as a little kid, my parents, due to circumstances, they had to leave me with a next door neighbor while my mom went to the hospital. And when I was with that next door neighbor, I basically like wouldn't stop crying. I just was crying, crying, crying because I was like a little kid. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And that neighbor got so tired of me crying that they actually like shoved me into a dark closet and kept me there all night. And so after that moment, I developed like just an insane, crazy fear of the dark. Like if it's dark, it freaks me the fuck out. So when you mix that with my normal like sleep routines, and if things get messed up, like if I fall asleep in a room that's completely dark, 99% of the time I will wake up like from the most horrific fucking nightmare that I've ever had, and I'll usually wake up screaming, which is really, again, my wife's favorite part about our relationship, I'm sure. So, I just have this weird like thing around sleep, and I've had dreams, like I've had sleep paralysis where it's like I know I'm dreaming, and in the dream I will be like, if I'm dreaming right now, this light won't turn on. And like I will hit my like light switch and the light won't turn on. And I'll be like, I'm dreaming. Kind of like Inception, I guess, is if I can kind of quote that. But I've never had, I've had many lucid things, I've had crazy things, and I kind of liken dreaming and shit like that. I've done a lot of drugs. I'm sorry, everybody who's listening. I've done a lot of drugs in my life, specifically hallucinogenic drugs. And that's I feel like that's what's happening in your brain when you're sleeping. You're just tripping balls on the chemical that's released. I don't know why people sleep. I think that scientifically, no one knows why humans dream or sleep or anything like that. I think that's still kind of a mystery. But this lends to like really kind of like fucked up dreams and things like that. But because I just think that for that DMT like chemical that seeps into your gray matter, that all comes out like, and then it just whatever you saw, whatever you did, and all that stuff. But I have had specific dreams, to your point, where it's like I did feel like I was looking at a different version of myself, and I guess I had a dream like that earlier this week. But yeah, that's my soliloquy on dreaming and my fear of the dark. So next time you laugh at me while we're playing Resident Evil, I hope you feel bad.
Well, you know what? No, the TV's on, and I'll say this. I'm sorry, as far as the fear of the dark, because I'll be honest, I love it pitch dark. I
Of
sleep.
course, you're just a human being.
I don't.
You're an adult. You're the adult out of the two of us for sure.
No, there's a lot of people who might need the TV on. And I'm a light sleeper though, and that's the hardest part. Like I'll wake up to
Ah,
almost anything, and the hard part is if it's in the middle of the night, it takes me forever to get back to sleep. Like my brain is wired because
oh,
you know what I
you're like
do.
Sarah.
Here's my thing that happens to me, like, and it has something to do with dreaming. Like I'll just be lying there, like fuck, I'm up. I mean, I'm at the age of like, well, I got to get up and pee once, during the evening. Let's do it now, so I can try and get back to sleep. Never works, but I need to be comfy. But anyhow, then my brain thinks of every cringe shit I've ever did or said,
Oh,
throughout
I
my life.
know.
And I'm like, why? I'm like,
The
well, why am I thinking
inventory.
this? It's like, I didn't even
Just
think
the
about this. I was 9 years old. Who gives a shit now? But I'm like, no, it's going to come back up in my memory just
It's all
now.
swirling around there, man. It's like a fucking soup in your brain. Like it's all going. They're like, what the fuck is coming up? Well, it's just coming up. It's in front of you. All of a sudden, that embarrassing thing you did in second grade just pops up again, and you just try to replay it. At least in my situation.
Hmm. And then luckily for smartphones, I'll try and play something, that's not too loud, just to get going. But it's so fucking tough. Then I get, finally spend a couple hours just getting back to sleep, left, right, straight on I can't sleep on my stomach too much. I have to, have a pellet, but you
Oh
know what I
God, I
mean?
don't
Just
think I've
like you're
ever
rolling
done
over
that.
this and that. I'm just like, oh my God.
I'm a side sleeper, 100%. My stomach that seems strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. My back is a no go. I end up on my back, but I snore too. So like usually I'll wake up, choking to death from my freaking sleep apnea. So yeah, sleeping is great.
It
So did
can
you
be.
have a messed up dream that you want to break down and discuss?
No, I can't really. There's been so many, and it just happens, and I kind of tend to forget about it. Like I said, the marble
Yeah.
one was just fucking hilarious because it's just like I knew I had to get the one marble because it was almost like teams, and I didn't want my team to die. So that's why, hence, I think Hunger Games. And like I was like, all right, we're leading 1-0. Like I said, I don't know why I had to throw the marble in this fucking Rocket League gold because it kind of was like a goal there. And then the other team got the marble but dropped. I'm like, yes, but it was the wrong color. I'm like, no, I got to go throw it. And I don't know why. I've had mess up dreams. Like I said, I had a truck come into the trees. I don't remember too much, and we're just waiting. Truck came. Like, yeah, this is just normal shit right now. Hell, I remember as a kid, I was boxing another guy. I don't even know who this guy was. We're just boxing, and I'm not. I'm talking about you know those Rocky boxing shorts and shit like that. No, I mean, I'm sure there's dreams we can dissect, and it always comes down like I should really keep a sleep journal. Then I'm like, no, because I don't want to do that much work at like 2, 3 in the morning.
That doesn't sound like you at all. Like that you'd want to start right. You're like, why the hell would I do that? Well, here's my question for you, right? Without getting anything specific.
Oh, I don't care. Go ahead.
Um, have you ever dreamed about going to a public restroom
Not that I can
or any
remember.
bathroom at all? Like what do bathrooms look like in your dreams?
You know what? I can't honestly answer that. I mean, as far as I know, they look like bathrooms. I'm always, worried that if I pee or do something in my dream, that something might happen in real life. I don't know. Ever have that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like so it's a common I guess it's a common dream to have, and I have it too, where it's like you're going to a public restroom and it's like the toilets are in like the worst condition. Like they're always in really bad condition. Like I'm talking like there's shit all over them, or they're like clogged with shit, or there's like terrible bodily liquids on them, and none of the things are in order. You've never had a dream like that? Thank God.
all right, well,
You've
hold
never had
on.
a
I
dream
mean,
like
I'm sure, there might be things because it's basically your brain telling you don't do this because it's afraid you're going to do it in real life. That's realistically why it happens.
that. It's like,
Because
no,
they're like,
don't use
you you could have gone to Taco Bell or some shit, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta go and take a shit. And then if you think it's the cleanest bathroom, you're just so relaxed, and it happens. Your brain's like, no, no, no. If
you feel
he's not in
safe.
full control, I need to stop it here. And you see this, the thing bubbling over, and you're like, no, 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 fuck that. I can hold it. Because
Oh man,
I'll be real,
it's the
like I
most
said, there's
realistic
times I've
thing.
woken up quickly. I'm like, wait, did that happen? You're like, nope, nope, I'm good, I'm good. But you have that slight fear, especially when you get older, you're just like, oh shit. Especially when you've been
Oh,
drinking, because obviously when you're drinking, you're
yeah, I
less in
know.
control of, other,
Right.
extracurricular
Your
activities.
bodily, yeah, your body functions because nobody, like, you really don't want to shit the bed like past a certain
No,
age.
no.
At a certain age, I guess when you're older, it'll happen more. But at this age that I'm in right now, in my mid 40s, I don't really want to deal with it because then there's consequences. You got to clean it. How do you even clean a mattress where somebody took a shit in it? I don't know. But your analysis, no pun intended, is actually really funny. It's the most grounded toilet explanation that I've
You know
heard
what's
so
funny
far, and
though?
it makes
Because
the most sense.
the only reason this isn't because Jill brought up this conversation too. I feel like we talked about this.
Really?
Your what you said, she's mentioned, and it was just kind of that's why I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So it's just all come full circle. That's why, because
Wow.
you just did that. I'm like, wait, am I? I'm like, did we talk about this? I'm like, no, I could have sworn Jill and I don't. This is recent, within the last week, and because your brain, I think just is telling you like, nope, because you're so relaxed. Maybe you might do it in real life that they're just like, no, 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 hold on, we're gonna make this look as disgusting as possible, so you don't do it. Just because they're like, well, because if you think you're peeing or going number two in a fucking toilet, you're like, you just might do it in real life. Who fucking knows?
Well, it's common, and people, who believe in kind of like metaphysical woo-woo stuff is like, all of us are sharing the same. They call it like toilet world,
Mhm.
and it's like all of us go to toilet world, and it's the same toilet world like ever. But then all of us have those same dreams. Probably, I don't know if this is an American thing. I don't know how else to compare it, but that you're late to school, or you're supposed to get to school, or your teeth are falling out, like those kind of dreams as well. I think that those are pretty common, right? I mean, have you had a dream where you're like, oh my god, I've got to get to school, and you can't get to school?
Well, I think it's possibly, and it's other things like I remember one time. I think it's what's stressing you out in your life at that point. Because I remember, and this, I was actually, we were working at Blockbuster, and I had this conversation with someone, and it was around Christmas time, and I had this dream, and this is, pretty much that I got fired from Blockbuster. Now we both were working at this time, and she looks at me and is like, kind of like, well, what did you do to get fired? Why are you having this dream? Which is the honest response. And you're like, well, I said, no, I think it's just because at that time with it being Christmas and stress, and my daughter was kind of younger at that time, so you want to obviously
Yeah.
so it's just like a lot, and you know how retail is. So I'm like I nothing. I'm like I just think I'm just so stressed. So hence that would be the worst case scenario. Yeah, who get fired right at Christmas? Like thanks, but so yes, I think as far as the being late, kind of similar, it's just because maybe you're just so worried about something, and that's what's impactful in your life. Because when we're in school, high school, college, whatever, that's
Yeah.
before we get jobs, that's almost like the most important thing, and that we're that we need to do at that time, where we have, we need to do something, to accomplish something. It's not like we're going outside having fun. This is like, all right, this is
I
important.
know.
So, being late is, and I think being late for a lot of people, for me, the weird one is like when I'm flying, like all of a sudden, I kind of remember one of the
Yeah.
first times I had this, I think near kindergarten, believe it or not. And those like little, I don't know what they're called, but they're like the little pinwheel things, almost like you pick them up off the ground, you throw them up. It's like a helicopter. I can't
Yeah.
think of it. So,
I don't know what the fuck they're called. Yeah.
yeah, so I actually remember this, and I was playing with those, and all of a sudden I just, went up in the air, and because and like a roller coaster, how the bottom half gets that tingly feeling. I'm like, oh shit, I'm flying. I don't know why
Mhm.
I feel like flying. Maybe the alternate reality
There's
Chad knows how to fly. Who knows? But still, that's the dreams I get when you physically feel it. But I think to your point, back to that, when you feel like you're late for something, school, work, I think you're just
uh,
stressed. Like you come back to that, and what's gonna make things worse? Your boss like, why were you 5 minutes late today? Fuck, if I know.
the things that we fucking think are important, right? It's like absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, no, to your point, you're if I'm thinking about something all the time, that'll tend to be, what my dreams are. Although it's very strange because like I had a dream about Bill Belichick earlier this week, and he was telling me that, my laugh was like, what was bringing the team up, and that, he just can't get Kendrick Bourne to like laugh like I do and stuff, and that is kind of weird. Like, like I don't know where that came from. But I was happy to have Bill Belichick like, pump me up and make me feel good about myself. Because obviously you and I have talked, I'm going through a lot of transition in my life right now, especially at work. So I have a different sleep schedule. Everything is just different and weird and strange, and then I'm just kind of like in a weird like limbo, and your brain just kind of goes on overdrive when you're trying to sleep like that. Plus, on top of it, I don't know if you struggle with this, um, but I have the allergies. Not to sound like a 40-year-old man, but I'm about to. But my allergies are terrible. So I have had terrible allergies. I haven't been sleeping, and just all sorts of chaos and madness. Has resulted in some of the worst dreams that I had. I did have a public restroom dream earlier this week, and it was really gross. Like I'm talking, the only place that you could pee was like in the middle of the room, and it was like a trough filled with like water, but there was also some blood in it.
Oh
And I
god.
was like, "Ooh, I don't want to be part of it. Like that's gross." Like, um, in real life, I'm always expecting, and you could chime in on this obviously, but in real life, I'm always expecting to walk into a public restroom and see some of the worst things I've ever seen
Oh,
because I have.
you want?
And you know what I mean? Like, it's so like when I have to go to a public restroom, I'm always like, please God, just don't let me see something I don't want to see. And so that was kind of reflected in my dream. And so, one thing led to another, and the series of circumstances, I just see like what looked like a discarded testicle like on the ground, like a ripped up, like somebody's testicle was ripped off and like was on the bathroom floor of this public restroom. And my thought was like, well, of course, like you see the worst shit in public restrooms, like of course I see a discarded testicle like on the ground. um But I feel that way in real life about about public restrooms. If I'm going to a public restroom, I always have in my mind like that fear that I'm going to see something that because people are fucking gross.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna put it out there. I know we're doing live, but people are fucking gross. And if you don't believe me, go to a fucking public restroom. Go inside of a fucking porta potty. Like just take a look and see what's there. That's where you really find out how people are.
So no, I'll tell this story about a public restrooms, a real public, not a dream one. This actually happened last year. Me and Jill, we were going to Boston. We were doing the Friends experience. If you don't know
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah, they recreated a lot of the Friends sets. You got to see some of the artifacts. What I say artifacts make it sound old, but anyhow, and so we're going, and whenever we go to Boston, we take the T, and a lot of times we go to Alewife, and that's kind of our go to, and then we go. And I'm getting to Alewife, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like my stomach. I'm like, I gotta take a shit, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, I don't want to do it here, but public, and I'm just like, whatever. I'm like,
Gotta do it.
I'm like, I'm gonna look, and then so I go into the bathroom, like, honey, just give me a few minutes. And I went into the stall, and yeah, no, it was overflowed. Things are floating. I'm like, nope, no. I'm like, we're going. She's like, I'm like, no. I almost thought about going to the woman. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'll just kind of stay. And luckily, like we got there, and I was fine, because even after a while, as you know, if you got to go, sometimes it settles. Not to sound gross or anything
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, but I saw so much
Of
shit,
course.
literally,
Yeah.
maybe not
Yeah.
intended, but intended. And I just was like, no, no. Like even if I just had to, for luckily being a guy, if I just had to, take a piss, I'm like, I don't think I would have done it in that
Easier.
toilet. Easier, but I still wouldn't have done it in that toilet. I did not want to go any further
No,
in the
it's a
stall than the
scary
fucking
shit.
door. Um, yeah,
No.
and I was like, oh my god, it was just so gross. I'm like, yep, yeah. I'm like, and I'm not dreaming. This is real. This is fucking real. So
That's what I'm saying is that yeah, Mike, I wouldn't say I have a fear of public restrooms, but I highly disdain public
I don't
restrooms,
want to
right?
use them if
Like
I
I
don't
just
have to.
can't stand them. I will say Hampton Beach generally keeps their public restrooms very clean. So every time I go to Hampton Beach, because obviously you're there all day. I get there at like 7:30 in the morning, and I don't leave until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I just sit on the beach, and obviously if you're drinking water and stuff, you're gonna have to use the restroom. Um, but every time I've gone to the restroom, it's like always has just been like massively cleaned. So that's nice. But then there's shit like King Richard's Fair, which is a Ren Fair in Carver, Massachusetts. You know, that's a porta potty situation, and I don't even want to talk about. I won't even get to like what Woodstock '99's porta potty situation was like, because if you want to have a post-apocalyptic concept of what a porta potty would be like, that's what it was in Woodstock '99. So, but that fear and disgust of public restrooms that you experience, we all have, it permeates into my dreams, and I don't know why we have to subject ourselves as Americans to public restrooms like this, like we're cattle. Like it's changed apparently in Fenway Park, but I remember going to Fenway Park. I've gone many times to Fenway Park, and I'm drinking the beers that they have now. And you're going into the fucking men's room and you're pissing into a trough. And it's like you just feel the heat and the fucking and the moisture of the piss that's like on in the fucking trough. And like there's no barricade between you and the other dude. So everyone's just got their fucking cocks out, like just taking a fucking piss. It's inhumane. It's ridiculous. I hate it. I hate it. That's all. I'm always like one of these people that I'm like, wow, I'm going out. Like I'm gonna have to like drink less water or something. I'm mindful of it because I don't want to have to use like a public restroom. Like not like when you go to a restaurant and you have your own, like sometimes some of them do, like you have your own little bathroom, it's a little more private. But I don't understand the concept of America where we have stalls and things of that nature. Like it's just disgusting and it's demeaning. So, and it again permeates into my dreams. And my dreams, the public restrooms are always fucked up. And I swear to God, in this dream, it was like, I think maybe you were there, there's some other friends, and before we even went into the restroom, we were all like, "Oh no, this is gonna be bad," and it was. Yeah, so messed up dreams, dude. Like they fucking happen, and then sometimes you have dreams about Bill Belichick, and he's in your corner.
And
So
he's just,
I'd like
telling
to have.
you, I like your laugh, man. You just needed some, maybe you need some positive reinforcement. You're like, man, things are down, and you
Dude,
just
I
like
did.
Belichick's like, it's going all right, man. Just stay positive. You know, Born might
Like when
suck,
you're
but
sick,
Country Born
yeah,
might
born
suck.
might suck. But you know, like when you're like sleep deprived, you well, for me at least, I get depressed or I start feeling crazy. Um, you don't think so in your mind, or at least I don't think I'm going. It's like you're still like, well, I'm just still me, but your body's like, no, we need to slow this down. Um, and so it's no wonder why when they do the time change that there's like an increase in heart attacks, right?
Yeah, I heard
Um,
that this
you can't be
time around.
fucking with people's sleep.
Yeah, because I think it's when you turn. It's one way in more particular, and I don't know if it's when you turn the hour
Right.
back that it
You
happens
lose one
more.
maybe,
Yeah, because weirdly enough, I heard this
fall
on the
back,
radio, and
spring forward maybe. I don't know.
I can't think of it. And yeah, the reason it could have been that, but yes, I have heard that, and I was like, damn, okay, well, it is what it is. But yeah,
Yeah, man, sleep is serious. I mean, you sleep, you know how serious it is.
well,
Although
everyone's got to
I
sleep.
don't know, you and Sarah have the same kind of sleep patterns because she'll be like, "I couldn't sleep last night." I'm like, "What does that mean?" Because I can sleep in like I can fall asleep in 30 seconds.
Well, I can fall
It's
asleep
my sleep
easily originally. Like once I first hit the pillow, like I am out so quickly, and I think just because of the
pattern.
day I'm tired. So like
Hmm?
I am out. And then when Jill comes to bed, if I go to bed before her, which I usually do, like I'll wake up when she comes to bed, and then I'm like usually then I'm like I can fall back asleep. But then there's that time in the middle of the night, and I wake up, I'm like fuck, and I look at my phone, I'm like sometimes like please be earlier, please be like, and then I'm like, oh yes,
Oh
it's only
yeah.
12:30. I'm like, I can still
Oh
get a few hours. And then my brain's like,
yep.
it's 1:30. Okay, and I'm just saying that, it's worth, when you see it's 3, even though you've had more sleep, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta get up in 3 hours. Okay, what can I
Oh,
do? And yeah, I've tried so many different things. You know, like I said, a lot of times I go to my phone, I just try and play. I have a certain thing, and then I've tried music. I think younger me used to listen to music, but now I don't know. I just try and get something in my mind. And again,
your
my mind
phone is
just
like
my
so bad though.
my. Well, I have two. Well, yes, but a lot of times it's just there more for noise. And I don't
Okay,
know. I
because
used to.
it's like shooting like blue light into your eyeballs, you know, like and
Well,
blue
I
light is
actually
basically
kind of tilted a different way just so
got
it's
it.
not shining on my face. I mean, but then again, there's a long period of my life where I fell asleep with the TV on, and just just
Yeah,
something, and I kind of stopped doing that. I don't even need it anymore.
I
But
haven't done
yeah,
that in years. I mean, I will fall asleep with the TV on in the living room, but we don't have the TV on in the bedroom. There's no
no,
TV in the bedroom. So.
I don't even know the last time I did that. But, just even yesterday, I was trying to play Lunar and I was so tired coming home from work and I was the only one home and I'm just literally there falling asleep on the couch. I'm like, okay, I can't play this game. I need to, I need to think. So I'm like, but I can't fall asleep.
Yeah, how like are you far in that game
I
or
think I'm close.
are
I think I'm
you
almost done. It's such a
what?
linear game.
Wow.
Well, if I remember correctly, but yeah, it's I think the Sega CD version might be a little harder, but Lunar is a linear game. There's not a lot of exploration. I think there's only one place that you can go to that you don't have to go to, and I think that's why
Wow.
I kind of liked it. And I suggest to anyone who wants to start RPGs, um,
Yeah.
this might be the one. Now, mind you, so this version has both Lunar and Lunar 2, but it also has what they call classic and remastered. And I said, fuck it, I'll just do the remastered. Let me get all. And I'm enjoying like the little animations again because I'm like, oh, this is just such a cool
Yeah.
art style. So when I'm done, before I start Lunar 2, I might play the classic mode just to kind of see what the differences exactly are.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, no. And I go back and I think this is a very good game for people who want to get into it because it's not complicated. The story is there and yeah, I think it's just easy, because it's not like a Final Fantasy game where you got to search all this everywhere. It's literally linear, but like kind of old school
Wow.
RPGs. So, but before we move on, just gonna say hi to Carlos. Yes, we're doing it live, just because I don't know. We just feel
Yeah.
like it. We talk.
Fuck it.
We always talk. Before we record. Like fuck it. Let's just start
We didn't
recording.
even no, we just you're like, oh, don't even
We
say
don't
anything to
plan
me.
it.
Just
There might be a couple
let's hit
things.
record.
I
No
mean,
one's listening anyways.
well,
It's like just fucking go,
I mean,
you
I
know?
know later we joked about this because I sent Soto a picture. I saw 2 Pringles new flavors that were in the grocery
Oh
store,
yeah.
and I had to buy it. And he's like, "Dude, you gotta let me know." I'm like, "I'll do that live." So I have these
Are you gonna
two.
do that? Are you planning to do that live
I
still?
have it. I have it whenever we get to it.
Oh,
Uh,
wonderful.
Fuck it. You want to do it now? We're doing it now. Let me. So yes.
Fuck it, dude.
So
Yeah.
yes. Carlos,
What
if you're
else are we
still
doing?
here, I was at the grocery store and I saw these two things: grilled beer brat and beer canned chicken, and I'm just like, I gotta fucking buy that. And going back to video games, we haven't played Helldivers in a while, unfortunately.
Well,
I
there's a
think
big update that came
our
out too.
schedules have not kind of aligned.
Yeah,
we've been playing
you got
Dying Light
fucking
2.
Dying Light. Yeah,
It took a month just to get back. So yeah, so
just get
hopefully,
Dropkicks on that shit. Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
mean,
I
he'll
mean,
never. You know, with a really big update with the Illuminates invading Super Earth that looked kind of cool. I mean, we're way behind on Helldivers.
yeah.
But that's a game that you can pop in and pop out. That's not like a fucking story to that game.
No, and we
Um,
just haven't
you know.
we haven't even had time to game together. So, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back to these chips. So yes, I texted, I took a
they look
picture, and
delicious.
I texted Soto, and actually I texted other people too. I texted my daughter, and another friend about them, and they're all like,
Of
so
course.
yeah, I was like, you're like, try. I'm like, you know what? I'll talk. You like, you're like, I'll ask you about it on Saturday. I'm like, fuck it, I'll eat them live on Saturday. I should have had you pick up a couple cans and let's do this together. But anyhow, so Soto,
Where did I
which
even
one should I?
find this?
We're gonna do this. You know, which one should we do first? I know it's. Should I do the
Oh,
beer brat
dude,
or the beer can chicken?
the beer can chicken. First of all, how do you even quantify
Okay.
like what that's even going to taste like? Like, it's just that doesn't even make any sense. But that's the one I'm most interested in. Like, give me a beer
I'm
can
more
chicken. But the
interested
other
in the
one's going
beer
to taste
brat.
like a
All right, so
fucking
hold on,
hot
hold
dog.
on. All right, so I got the beer can chicken. And yes, it says Miller Light. Well, actually, no, it doesn't say Miller. It just says Light, but it looks like a Miller Light can. So I feel like,
Well, that's the
yeah, I'm now
yeah.
looking at it. I'm like, haha, sneak. So hold on. I literally opened this
Sneaky
right now.
advertisement. I mean, Miller
Ooh,
Lite is a disgusting
no,
beer.
let me.
You know,
I'm giving the smell test.
you
So
got to.
hold on. Ooh,
All right. So give me the spell test. Yeah.
oh,
Ooh, a bouquet of
but
what?
chicken.
Fried chicken.
Not for
It
yeah,
smells like chicken. Of
rotisserie chicken. It does smell like a fucking rotisserie
what?
chicken. Holy shit!
Get the fuck out
Like
of
a
here!
little bit,
Like Market
like a
Basket.
little teriyaki. You know, I like that kind of like burnt chicken smell. Burnt chicken smell. That's how I'm going to go with it right
Okay.
now. Like no,
Burnt
no.
chicken
Well, no,
smell. All right.
but it does smell like a rotisserie chicken. So, all right. So hold on. I got a chip here. Hold on.
You gotta crunch it to the mic for extra
No,
effect,
Pringles
buddy.
are fucking. Yeah, they're definitely.
Okay. So it's
Hold
hitting your
on.
palate now.
Yep. I'm doing one more because I
Hints
like
of
to.
umami. Ooh, some umami on the back end there. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I don't know
All
why
right.
beer can, but there is a little
Okay.
rotisserie chicken taste to it. I think that's the best I can explain it.
Is it like seasoned like chicken ramen or something?
No,
No. Okay.
no. I mean,
It tastes like chicken though. It's giving
it's like
chicken, is what you're saying.
it's like a very small rotisserie chicken flavor. And that,
Okay.
again, I'm smelling it again, and the smell's definitely there. Yeah, because I always, whenever I see the random chips flavors, like. So a while ago, it was a Lay's one. I think it was bacon grilled cheese, and I'm like, I fucking and like me and Jill tried it, and that had you
Huh?
could definitely taste like the bacon and the cheese, and I it was they were actually pretty good. This, I'll be honest, Soto. I mean, if I'm being honest, beer can chicken, not a
Yeah.
bad flavor,
Yeah.
but like it's not overpowering. Beer can chicken. I don't know why it's called beer can. You can just call it rotisserie chicken, and that would be a more um,
Mhm.
uh, acceptable.
What are you rating this on a scale of 1 to
Well, you
10
know, if
there?
I was drinking, this would definitely be higher. But you know, no, I will finish this. I mean, obviously, I will finish it. This is not one. You know, I've had disgusting chips before.
Sure. Yeah.
And Carlos, I do not know how they make a chicken smell. I know. I think you're because you're overseas. You're not. If I remember,
Rotisserie.
Carlos, if I remember you correctly, yeah, You're on the England side of things. Here in America, we do a lot of dumb shit with our chips.
It's because it's our educational system. That's why. Yeah.
Well, I do agree. I see it, but I like I said, the smell test, it's there, and I am being honest, but
Oh,
there's nothing about like I said, they could have just called this rotisserie chicken, or just that's what I kind of taste. I nothing about beer, at least from the first couple
I kind
bites.
of, I kind of agree with what Carlos just said about.
You know what? You
You
could
can
be
see the
right,
chicken. The
but here's
chicken.
the thing. But I a lot of these random chips, there is something to it. Like I said, the bacon grilled cheese one, though it's more of a cheese and a bacon. So there is a lot of things. I've had like the
Yeah.
Korean one, the Funyuns ones. Yeah, they have a lot of different ones. All right,
Funyuns flavored fucking Pringles, bro. Just get Funyuns.
they're both
This
good.
doesn't make any sense.
Anyhow, all right. So
Okay.
All right, so I'm
All
looking
right,
at
so
the grilled
grilled
beer. See
beer
this one
brat.
because me being from Chicago, it's the broad. That's what. That's why I feel like this one interests. I mean, obviously, what caught my eye was the fact that there was a Miller Lite can on both of these. So I'm like, fuck it. So hold on. Let me. I'm opening this up
Okay,
here. Give me a second.
the bratwurst. You got to give us the bouquet.
So the smell is
You
weird.
know,
I'm gonna be honest. The smell's a little weird. I don't. I do not.
it
Yeah, I
doesn't
do
smell like
not.
a sausage.
No, at least from this can.
Is it like smoky?
It is a
Like,
little.
I mean,
I again. I go to. You know what? It almost smells like burnt toast a little bit. So maybe I mean
oh, you're not having a stroke.
no, I'm not having a stroke. I but
Does anybody smell
I
burnt
get it. But
toast?
you know what? My nose is literally in a fucking Pringles can, Soto. So you know what? I'm not having a stroke. Yes, you know what? If me and Soto do this live, I will get chips. We'll blindfold one of us, and we will do the guess the flavor. But hold on, let me try this brat thing.
Oh,
I'll be honest.
I mean, I
This
just
tastes more like beer than the first one. I do not say anything
so
brat.
you're tasting more like hops, is what you're saying? Like
Very
it's a little
light, like a
hoppy.
light beer. Shitty beer. Well,
Okay, but
all
what
light
it
beer is
doesn't
shitty
taste
to me.
like.
I'm sorry to people who drink light
No,
beer.
it's true. No, it's trust me, as a alcoholic, I can confirm that is true. Uh, so no sausage
No,
tones,
and
like
I like I said, being from I've had plenty of brats, plenty of sausages. You know, peppers, onions, the whole loaded. But yeah, no, not even like a hot dog. Like
no
if this was somehow a hot, I'm gonna eat one more just to here you
for
go.
science.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to eat one more for science reasons. You know, we got to get you got to get like a good crunch into the microphone next time. Just really annoy anybody who's listening. You
I'm
know, just be
sorry.
like,
I'm
oh
doing this on
god,
purpose. Yes, I'm trying to eat in front
they're
of the
like
mic.
eating on the like, oh my
All right.
god, we're like, yeah,
Yeah, so when I do have a snack, I don't do this on the mic, but for the sake of just the fun of this, I'm doing it. This one's worse. This one, the beer can chicken I like better, and I'm kind of bummed that this beer brought
yeah,
one. It does taste a little bit more like a light beer.
yeah.
There is but
I've never like
I
poured
like I
my
said,
beer on my fucking hot dogs when I'm making them. Why would I do that? I'm drinking my beer. I don't know.
speaking of
Maybe
which, hold on,
look,
I
I
gotta take
know.
a you go. I gotta take a drink here. Hold
Yeah, it's like I just never. I guess I've seen like really cool looking dudes put beer on steaks and stuff as they're cooking it, but I've never been one of those guys. Like a little bit of the for the grill, a little bit for me. I don't know. I don't know. Like, and I'm always drinking like fucking Modelo's and shit when I'm outside grilling. I'm not drinking shit in a fucking can. You know when I drink shit in a can? Like when I don't want to drink and drive. That's like me. I'm like, I'll get like 6 Coors Lights and I'll be like, cool, I'll just drink these non-alcoholic beers. And I
on.
should be fine. Because that's what a Coors Light is to me, is just like I feel that if I was out in a golf course like all day, I probably could drink 15 to 20 Coors Lights like easily.
Jesus.
Um, they're like water, dude. Like you remember
Yeah,
going
yeah,
out in the
yeah.
course. It's like you're out there like fucking in the sun. 18. Sometimes it's like 4 or 5 hours for me because I suck. It's like more probably over 5 hours. But you're just drinking all fucking day, and I would be sneaking in the beers in my fucking golf bag like all the time. So yeah. Well, so I mean, it sounds like the beer can chicken you would eat again, but the grilled
Well,
beer
I
brat.
wouldn't say I'm probably never gonna buy either. Well, it is limited edition, so who knows? I
You gotta
probably will not
collect them
buy
all.
either of these again. I'm just saying the beer can chicken is probably better than the beer
Yeah.
brat one, and that's not saying much. Like I
Okay.
said, I mean, I'll eat both. The other one's just such a light flavor. It's almost like I'm gonna be snacking and almost close to plain chips. It seems like, but the beer can chicken there
Yeah.
is more of a, like I said, a rotisserie smell and taste to it. So they,
Yeah.
they they stay true to it. I don't know what the fuck a beer can chicken is. I mean, I don't know, but um,
It's
at
a
least
chicken with a beer can inside.
well, yeah, sure, great.
Have you never done that? You never seen that shit?
No, no, I'm sorry that no, I have not. So yeah, no, but I will say, like I said, Soto, every now and then when I see a random flavor when they do a limited edition, I have to try it, and me and Jill usually give it a shot. And sometimes
Yeah,
they're actually really good, and sometimes they suck. So yeah, no, I will not buy these two again, even if I saw them. But yes,
still have a lot of. Yeah.
I mean, they're just. Maybe I'll take it to Brian's tomorrow and be like, "Here, have some free chips. Here, kids,
Here,
have some beer chips." I'm a great uncle.
nothing wrong with that. Ain't no beer in this shit. Yeah, it's just potato chips. That's all. Yeah,
Oh yeah, no,
absolutely.
I'm just
Well, I
gonna.
mean, look, call me simple, but call me a simple lady, but I like I'm just a sour cream and onion guy when it comes to Pringles. That's me. If I eat Pringles, I think I really stopped liking Pringles when you couldn't put the fucking plastic lid on the bottom and have it fit anymore. Like before when I was growing up, and I don't care what the fuck anybody says, don't you dare say it's a Mandela effect or whatever the fuck it is.
I'm doing it right now.
Um,
I put the lid
is
on
it
the bottom.
sticking into it?
It's stuck. I mean, I've never done it. I never considered. So I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know why that's a big
Maybe
thing.
they maybe they fixed it, but there was a time where
Oh, you know
it
what? No,
wasn't.
no,
Like
no,
there was
no.
a time
Hold
where it
on,
was
Soda.
slightly bigger.
I'm gonna. It's funny because I held it in my hands and it
Hmm.
was stuck there. And then the instant I put it on the table and picked it back up, it fell. So you know what?
Yeah.
Don't quote me now. Change that. But yeah,
I don't understand like why they went away from that because obviously you want somewhere to keep your fucking lid. So putting it at the bottom of the Pringles fucking can was very convenient. And then they decided not to. So what the fuck am I supposed to do with the lid? Put it in my pocket? You
put it
know?
on the table
So
beside you. I
like
don't know.
that's inconvenient. All
Why is
right?
that
Like
inconvenient? You
because
have
it's like not on the go. Like, it's like that. I'll lose
nobody
that
eats
shit.
Pringles on the Pringles is not a to go
But when I
snack.
was younger,
No, no,
when
no.
I was
They got
younger,
the miniature cans,
the
but
sleeve.
no.
I had to get my fucking hand all the way to the bottom. I had to like squeeze my hand in this fucking unnatural tube
That
to get
yeah,
the last fucking chip. Yeah, dude. I mean, I
I
don't know.
just
I'm glad they made the Pringles one. They have like these smaller little snack packs.
they
But
do.
I think I used to only eat these shits when I would. Did we sell these at Blockbuster too? Didn't we? Like the little Pringles things.
Maybe
I feel like we did because I stole a lot of shit from Blockbuster Video. Just if Blockbuster Video hears this,
the
I just
last
want to let you know
blockbuster
that
and Ben come at us.
I fucking ate so many Slim Jims and I didn't pay for a single fucking one. I would just eat Slim Jims, Charleston Chews, like the candy fucking aisle at Blockbuster Video was my fucking that was my lunch right there. And
I'm
I
sad
fucking was
that was our
happy to steal
lunch.
from it.
None of us brought lunches. We ate whatever was
You're
there.
like you're like that's not a flex. It's like I was eating mechanically separated chicken without having to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did. Well, because like I knew that in inventory we would always assume that there would be a percentage that was lost. So fuck it, steal it. It's not that they fucking like knew what the hell was going on. So movies a little bit different. You're missing a copy of Forrest Gump. Like we can find out when it was last rented and everything, and understand like how we may have lost that, but not a Slim Jim. Hell no. Or Mike DM Mike, if you remember him. He'd be eating Charleston Chews all day long. So I think he actually took over the Lawrence Blockbuster at some point, maybe after you. I don't remember, but he definitely was a store manager for a while.
Oh yeah, no, they. It was in between things. Like he was when our franchise was bought out. I went, yeah, because my position at Blockbuster, because I technically was not a store manager, I kind of floated a lot. But anyhow, they put me in Lawrence, and you know, he was kind of there overseeing it. But I guess they went through a few managers at that time, and then yes, after
Yeah,
I don't think it's when I went to Haverhill and I traveled to like Seabrook and Stratham, and I think my stores
I
were
did.
closing, but they didn't tell me what. Obviously, you know how this ends. But yeah, there's a time he had to went back because I think of his position. I don't know. It all just bleeds together,
I
and
think so. It
um,
really does. I'm glad we're past it. We're watching movies for free now. Not for free, but
yes, because we pay
for
for the
leisure.
subscription.
Yes, but for leisure though, we don't have to like watch them so that some dumbass can come up to the register and fucking
Tell me
you know,
about this movie.
hey,
Sucks.
this movie any good? I don't know. Rent it. Fucking watch it. The fuck you want from me? I had to speak to young people recently at an event at my job, and as I was explaining that I used to work at Blockbuster Video, these are like 18-year-olds. As I was explaining that I used to work at Blockbuster Video, I was stopped by an adult who asked me to stop talking and please explain what the fuck Blockbuster Video is to these kids. And I thought to myself, Chad,
Yeah.
my God,
They have no idea what a
there are
video store is.
18-year-olds who have no idea what a Blockbuster Video is.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Like,
think about it,
like,
because it was
at all.
2013, 2012? No, 2012. When my store, that was when most of the stores were starting to close. And that was 13 years ago. So yeah, they were young. So, oh my God. But yeah, it's funny because the Spitbrook Road Blockbuster, where it used to be, is now a nail salon. But I actually deliver mail
Yes.
to like that plaza. But I kind of noticed and
Yeah.
I kind of forgot. I still see that little cement block where the out box was, where they could, not have to come in the store, but the drop off box that was actually outside. Like that,
Yeah.
there's still a little cement thing there. So I laughed. I'm like, there used to be a drop off box for videos there, and no one knows
Well,
anymore.
I have a question for you.
Oh shit! All right, I am
And I
ready.
want you to ask. I need you to answer this. I need you to answer it as honestly as possible.
I will. Yes, let's do it. Fuck it.
Like, would you be opposed to going to that nail salon and getting a mani pedi and get a manicure and a pedicure inside of that old Blockbuster Video?
Well, sure, I guess, but why?
Have you ever gotten a manicure?
No,
I mean, I heard it's a pretty nice experience. A nice way to fill your cup.
So I'm not going to say I'm opposed to it, but I talked to those people, and actually before it was a nail salon, it was was it Joseph A. Bank? They did like the suits and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's just weird seeing that plaza. The obviously the Panera is still there,
Oh,
and
it
the
so
Brothers
is.
Butcher is still there. But yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where you know this used to be, and I just
I was
looked
just
up.
there, dude. I was there last weekend, last Sunday. I went to, because anytime I go to New Hampshire, I have to go to Panda Express in DW Highway. So Panda Express is there. You can order online with Panda Express, so I could just walk in and pick up like what I want, dude. And then so I drove by, of course, and I'm like, oh my God, that looking at the side of the building where we used to smoke cigarettes,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody has any yet.
And I see the owner of the Pro Nails sometimes, and he's out there smoking cigarettes too. I'm like, I know that's the spot, dude. I know. I know this. It's been years since I smoked, but I'm like, I used to sit on that curb and just smoke cigarettes away from the customers and hide.
Yeah.
In the back room sometimes, just go out the door, be like, yeah, I'll hear a page if they need me. It was definitely weird
7 years.
it was definitely weird when it was at Joseph A. Bank. I think that's the name of it, because they would have deliveries, like I had to pick up packages. And so it's funny going to the back room and kind of just surveilling everything. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I've seen this back room. I know this back room. I've done things in this back room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Down tills, like the, oh yeah, and other things, yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. I mean, I would love to go back to the Methuen area of the Loop and be like, just see what's there now, and be like, yeah, I used to run poker games out of this back room.
I wonder what is there, because there's like a crumble there. There's
and the Loop. I have not been to the
did.
Loop, and I haven't been to Methuen. God knows how long. There, I have no need to be in that area.
I think the last time you and I went, we went with a friend of ours. I think we were at TGI Fridays.
Yes.
That was the infamous Red Sox hat night.
Yes.
And I'll say no more on that. But that one restaurant that's that's over off the side. It used to be like, I don't know, like a Bugaboo Creek. And then now it's a Margaritas. That keeps changing over and over. There's like a Raising Cane's over there now and stuff. But
shit, yeah.
I go to the Loop all the time because that's when Sarah and I do go to the movies. And it's rare. Like, because I'll be honest with you, man. Like, these movies come out pretty quickly on streaming, even if it's just like a month or so or two after it came out theater. Like, if I have to just wait 60 days to watch a movie and it's free and it's in my house, for example, The Brutalist is on Max now, or they're rebranding it to HBO Max.
Wait. So, they're going back to HBO Max, or
they are going back to HBO Max. I have no idea, but they are rebranding back to HBO Max. That was just announced this week, and so The Brutalist is on there, which is a 3-something hour film. But I mean, it's free-ish. I mean, sure, I pay for the service, but when Sarah and I do go to the movies, and we'll probably watch. There's this anime Demon Slayer that we watch, and we'll probably watch that when it comes out. We go to the movie, the AMC in the Loop. I'm assuming that was there when Blockbuster there,
Oh yeah,
right? It
no,
feels
no,
like
that and
it's been
Chuck E.
a while.
Cheese. Yeah, I remember going to that Chuck E. Cheese every now and
Oh
then.
yeah, that
Uh,
Chuck E. Cheese was the first one I learned where you could buy beer at Chuck E. Cheese. Because why would I know that when I was a little kid, right? So
it's
like when I
true,
went,
true.
I think I went with somebody's kid or nephew or something. Sarah and I both did, and we were there at Chuck E. Cheese, and I was criticizing the pizza, and then I looked at the menu and I'm like, oh my god, there's beer here, and of course, because that's the only way parents could deal with a situation like that is be like, can I have a fucking beer? Because these kids are driving me fucking up the wall. So, yeah, that I think that Chuck E. Cheese is still there.
I have no clue.
So
But
the TGI is still there, and TGI Fridays is a dying franchise, unlike Chili's, which Chili's is seeing a resurgence as far as like these kind of like sit down places. But the Applebee's is still going strong over in Amherst, right? Amherst
oh, yeah,
Street,
I think it's
where
still
that
there.
Blockbuster
Yeah.
is.
Obviously with COVID being
That's like
over,
a landmark of
that's been
Nashua.
there. I mean, it was there
Applebee's.
since even when I was a teenager. I remember being
Yeah,
coming back when
I used to go there.
16 when I came back from
Hmm.
Minnesota and visited Brian. We went there with a bunch of kids. And I think we
Yep,
lied that it was
always.
someone's birthday to get a free piece of cake and something like that. But so
Dude,
the
I was always rocking the chicken tendies there, man. Chicken fingers with extra honey mustard sauce, extra fries. That was my
ooh,
shit
honey
over there.
mustard. That's good sauce.
Oh
All right,
hell
so
yeah!
before we move on to something, you brought up movies and you brought up theater. I actually want to talk about a certain movie, and because I
Okay.
just need to get your thought process and what you think or what expect, or could you care less? Because the other thing is, Soto, I'm a little surprised. We haven't talked about this. You still have not seen the final part of Cobra Kai, but besides that,
I have not. No, it's funny. Sarah and I just had this conversation the other day where we're going through Netflix. She's like, "Oh yeah, Cobra Kai. You haven't seen that yet?" I'm like, "No, we haven't." And then we just left it there. So yeah, to be
yeah, we
continued.
talked about so many seasons except the final, but Karate Kid
I
Legends.
know.
Karate Kid
Yeah,
Legends.
yeah.
What is your thought? Because obviously we grew up in the '80s and we loved the original Karate Kid, and
Yeah.
Karate Kid 2. Actually, the first few Karate Kids, they're all, Mike. Yes, the third one wasn't as good, but still, Karate
I
Kid.
actually
Good.
don't. I don't mind all the Karate Kids. I think probably the fourth one was probably the one that I liked the
Well, but
least,
you
and
didn't see it
doesn't
growing
really
up.
have
We
any.
we watched it for a run and take.
Oh
So
hell no,
so,
no, 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 no.
but anyhow, the next Karate, the Hillary Swank one is, this one stars Ralph Macchio, but obviously Jackie
Yeah.
Chan, which obviously he did the remake of Karate Kid, which I love Jackie
Mhm.
Chan. I just hate Will Smith's son. And I did see it because I'm like, "Ah, I don't want to see it, but I got to see it because of Jackie Chan." But now that they're
Mhm.
tying this together, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts? Like, I mean, I'm not going to the theaters to see this, but I kind of still want to see. What are your thoughts in this? Like, are you happy? Are
I'm
you pissed? Or you just don't
I'm
care?
not mad at it. I'm okay with it. Like I think that Karate Kid has kind of had a resurgence with the Cobra Kai TV show. That as cheesy as the Cobra Kai TV show is, it's very entertaining, and it kind of started up. It restarted the whole Karate Kid universe thing.
Yeah.
Um, and now with Ralph Macchio, I wouldn't be surprised if Ralph Macchio is the same age Jackie Chan from how old Ralph Macchio is. But
I
Ralph
gotta look this up while you're
Macchio, like
talking
being in
this whole.
there.
You keep
I
going.
know Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, then connecting the universe together. I'm totally fine with this, dude. I mean, it's got Daniel LaRusso in it. You know, I think it's a nice kind of what is this? I'm assuming that the one with Will Smith's kid is no longer canon.
Well, it's kind of
But
canon because of the
maybe it's not.
Jackie Chan character. Just Will Smith's son's not
Okay.
going to be a part of this. So obviously, well, first of all, Jackie Chan 71, Ralph Macchio 63. I'm just going to throw that out there real quick.
It's not that far
Nope,
off.
8
Like I
years
think
and
Pat
eight.
Morita was. How old is Pat Morita in
Well,
Karate Kid? That's a great question right there.
hold on. But yeah. So this, I don't know too much about this story. I do know obviously Jackie Chan's kind of training another kid, but for some reason he goes to see Ralph Macchio. Hold on. So, 32, so 68. Holy, so if Mr. Miyagi was still alive today, he would be 93.
No, but in the Karate Kid
I don't
movies,
know.
how old?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. He died
but
when he
you
was
mean well,
75. But he,
well, like the thing is, like Ralph Macchio might be older than he was in those movies
oh,
right
you
now.
know, 100. I feel like yes, 100%.
You would never think that by looking at Ralph
But
Macchio.
yeah, so there's something where I think Jackie Chan, they show that's part of the trailer. Like he comes to America and Daniel's son is Daniel LaRusso is just kind of there and he's looking for Mr. Miyagi and that's when he's like, no, this hat, you know, he passed away. He's like, well, I actually came looking for you, and so somehow, yeah, it's the idea like one tree, two branches. So this kid learns kung fu and karate because that's the one thing. Jackie Chan's Karate Kid should be called the Kung Fu Kid. Um, because he's not learning
Agreed.
karate. But yeah, so
Hmm.
they're going to connect it where he knew Mr. Miyagi for some reason, and he's looking for Daniel just because he's trying to reach out
Fine
to
with
this
it.
kid. So yeah, I am very curious because yes,
I'm
I do
fine with
love
it.
Jackie Chan, and I do love
Hmm.
Karate Kid, and this could erase a lot of the distaste of the original Karate Kid remake and maybe the next Karate Kid, though. You know, we
I mean,
will.
like I'm fine with this. This doesn't make me mad. Karate Kid is now had a whole other. Like I said, it's a whole. It's been rebranded. It feels different. It's fine. You know, this is perfectly fine. I don't think this hurts anybody. But I mean, you're fine with it, I assume,
I'm
right?
100% fine with it. I think they're not going to do anything. It's basically, from my understanding, is they're not going to acknowledge the Cobra Kai universe, but they're going to
Hmm.
respect the Daniel character coming from it, if that makes any sense, because they don't need anyone from the Cobra Kai universe. And I'm trying to also keep things quiet because you haven't seen it, and I still want to talk about the final season, which now almost has left my brain a little bit. But yeah, no, I like I said, I am intrigued. It was something I want to talk about because a lot of people are like, "Why do this?" And I'm like, you hear this all the time. Come up with an original story. Hard part is everyone's just going to Chat GPT for a fucking story. I don't know. If there's many original stories left. But yeah, give me a little. If they do it correctly, and that's what they're doing. They are kind of acknowledging the fact that yes,
We're
Jackie Chan teaches
honoring
kung
the
fu,
right.
and it's the idea of this one kid is learning both styles. And there is a reason, which again, I don't know the full reason from the trailer, but I'm like, yeah, I'm like you said, I'm hoping this comes out to streaming services before the end of the year so it could be part of our 200 movie challenge on YouTube. So,
Oh, I mean, there's a good chance. I mean, it's coming out May 30th,
correct.
but it'll come out for
It
free. I
should.
mean, again, like all the Oscar movies are now starting to come out, now, and I actually saw one of them this morning. So, yeah, I think that this should be on there. It should be there this year. I'm gonna go ahead and say this will be on our list.
This and Terrifier 3. Terrifier 3 is going to be our Christmas movie
Oh
if it's free.
no! Oh my God!
I'm
It's gonna
keeping an
be
eye.
free.
And it might not,
It's gonna
the
be
instant
free.
it becomes available on one of our streaming
I'm not.
platforms.
I'm not looking forward to that
I
at
know you're
all. I'm
not
going to
looking
do
forward
it.
to it, but we have to.
I
Like,
know. I'm
we've
going to
gone
do it,
down
but
this
I'm not
path
looking
of
forward to it.
Terrifier movies that we almost have to see the
I
third
know.
one.
I know. You're not
And
wrong, and that's why I'm mad. I'm mad because you're right.
I
We're gonna
know.
have to see that shit. It's for science, just like us catching this raccoon. It's for science.
It's a
It's
fucked
a
up
he
dream.
came.
Who knows? You got a net. I got like a Star Wars gun and Rocket Raccoons. Just got to get that fucking sandwich out of there for some reason. I don't know how you came, but what you even typed in to get this thumbnail. Just
Yeah, he's got some. Yeah, it's pretty wacky. But yeah, it's ChatGPT. Hit or miss, sometimes. It's getting better, but still a little wonky. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
no wrestling tonight, man.
No, we got next week. Saturday night's main
That's
event.
next week.
Yeah, which is funny
All
because
right, so go ahead.
there's think about this. Hold on, Backlash. We kind of did a show on May 10th.
Mhm.
May
Yes.
24th, Saturday night's main event. June
Mhm.
7th, Money in the Bank, and then June 28th is their Saudi Arabia show, Night of Champions. 6 weeks, and they have four huge events. I mean, I joke Saturday night's main event's really just a glorified house show, but still, I'm like
What's backlash though?
that's like to me like the WrestleMania part two, like the cleanup. Just like, hey, we're going to run some of this. I don't know. Saturday night's main event though are usually nothing story wise. But anyway, what were you going to ask? Because I felt like you're about to
Well,
say.
like, what's the difference? Like, I don't know. It's like I'm kind of looking at like another kind of pay per view thing. I know you said it's a PLE or whatever.
Well, because no one pays for
Um,
it now. I mean, they don't. You're not paying the
right. It's not
$50.
a
Yeah, it's
right.
whatever you pay for your
The word
subscription.
doesn't make any sense anymore. But it's like when people call hot tubs jacuzzis, right? It's like, yeah, not everything is a jacuzzi. That's just the brand. So with Saturday night's main event, it just seems like it's going to be kind of a minor pay per view, like what Clash of the Champions or some shit like that. Um, Whatever. I mean, I get to see people that didn't get to see at Backlash. 'Cause I thought Backlash was really short. I think it was like only like 2.5 hours or something
Well,
like
yeah,
that. I
they
want to
only have
say
4 or 5 matches, so I mean, I
it
think
wasn't a lot. All of a sudden, Randy Orton was coming down, and I was like, "Oh shit, we're here already! Oh my
I
god,
think they
okay."
got yeah, because I'm kind of now just trying to get what the card might be because I only know a few matches like
It's
Jey
like
Uso and
John
Logan Paul.
Cena and R Truth or something
It's
like
just
that.
actually out of everything, that's the one I want to see most because I think that's gonna hilarious. Because I know you haven't watched wrestling in like the last 20 outside of
No,
now the real
25
resurgence.
years.
Um, but obviously, R Truth, who many people know as Ron Killings, K Quick, way back in the day, he's like almost 60, I think. But his whole he's become a comedic character, and his whole joke, his last even before all this, was John Cena was his childhood hero growing up, and it was just a running gag. Like R Truth is fucking funny, and the shit he says in rings just to make people break character, it's great. So when they announced that, I'm laughing. Uh, it makes sense because again, people are like, "Why are they wasting this?" Because this is just a dumb fun show, and I think
Yeah.
there'll be some things that happen. But yeah, because right now here's the 4 matches I see: Uso versus Logan Paul for the championship. We just talked about Cena versus R Truth, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in a steel cage, and Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn. So, like I said, but the Cena R Truth one, I think it's just going to be hilarious to me. And people are like, why? And I'm like, I think Cena's picking some of his opponents, and he never really had a match with R Truth like this because they're always both faces. They've teamed up a couple times, so I think they can play this into the story. But I think it's just gonna be funny as shit. This weirdly enough, that's the outside of the tag match. Just because I want to see where they go with the Rollins and Breaker, but I'm like, I think Cena R Truth is just gonna be fun. And I think there's gonna be some shenanigans because it's gonna be. But yeah,
Always.
our truth is just so fucking hilarious. But it makes sense, so we'll see. But yes, and then Money in the Bank. That's one I'm more excited for just because I love that concept. So and we'll see
And
two
you said
ladder
that's
matches.
June 7th?
June 7th is Money in the Bank, so they have a few weeks. But
Oh,
then like a
Saturday.
few weeks
Nice.
after that is Night of Champions, which is basically every title is defended when they've done that from time to time. So you'll see every champion. But that's a Saudi
Oh,
Arabia
cool.
show, so they'll have some good matches, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Saturday night main event next Saturday. So if we're live again, we'll kind of talk about it and see what happens, and we'll go from there. But yeah, Backlash was just a boring pay per view, very predictable. But I think they just need to stick with predictable right now just to get through it. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, look, I think the product is watchable. It is boring. You're right. But I've seen it be worse.
Correct.
I've seen really, really bad, and I think that this brand of wrestling that's going on right now, although it's not, consistently great, I am entertained. And I do look at it as a thing of big. Like if it's a Saturday night and I've got nothing going on, I'm gonna probably watch it. That's my Saturday night. If it's only asking 2 hours of me, that's not really a big deal. So and now that my nights are freed up from basketball for the next year
Ooh,
or until
yeah.
October,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I mean,
Well, once Tatum
just
went down, I think it was inevitable. But yeah, I mean,
well, once Tatum went down, the prospects of winning 3 games in a row was certainly because if they had gone down 3-1 and he was still in it, I'd be like, yeah, they can come back. I feel actually pretty good about their chances. And then if they came back and they won in Game 5, I'd be like, oh, okay, no, they can definitely take this to Game 7. But there just was only Jaylen Brown doing stuff last night, and it was just readily apparent that it was the end. But I've said it before on this as well, is that we won the championship last year. I'm cool with it. And so you don't win the season every single year.
nope.
And it's just we move on. Like I wonder what kind of people we'll be by the time Jason Tatum comes back and plays basketball, because that'll be like, ooh, that's gonna be a long while, very long while.
So I gotta
So,
ask you something that I heard, and again, I've not that I've fallen out of love, but I kind of catch up with it, but I don't watch it consistently like I used to. So
yeah.
obviously they had the NBA draft,
Yes.
and Dallas got the number one pick.
Yeah, a little suspect. Yep.
Okay, so yes, so
Little
you hear
coincidental.
this all the time. People are like, it is rigged, and then they're like, well, all this is, conspiracy theorists and stuff like that. But I'm like, I get it. At times, I'm like, well, there's just no way. But I'm like, there's just way too much that this just seems it has to be rigged somehow. But what?
It's a little bit. It adds, because like the Luka Doncic trade. And I've said this a million times, to my buddy when we're talking about this. It's that I don't have a problem with trading Luka Doncic, because while he is a spectacular offensive generational talent, I think that he's a dog on defense, and I think he's just not in shape. He's just not. He's one of the oldest looking 26-year-old people I've ever seen in my life. Um, and I don't think it's wrong to trade him, but you only let the Lakers trade for him, and you didn't get back anything. Like, you could have
Anything.
traded him for literally any other team and gotten like a wealth of draft picks. Like, for example, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are going to be going to Game 7 against the Nuggets, I believe tomorrow. They got a ton of draft picks from like trading like Paul George. Like, the reason their team is what it is right now is based off all the picks and the things they were able to do, and the great players they were able to get. You traded Luka Doncic for like Anthony Davis. And then you don't really get that many. You don't build your draft at all. It kind of is fucked up, and they should have damaged them for years. But instead,
They get the number one
coincidentally
pick.
enough, they get their own pick with Cooper Flag, who they could trade for somebody. And I don't know, but like, they get the number one pick in that situation. That's interesting. I know that, pretty much in football, you're the worst team, you're going to get the number one pick, so you can tank, and they want to keep basketball teams from tanking. That's why there's a lottery. But it does kind of, it keeps the shitty team shitty when you do that.
Well, my thought
When you don't
process in
like.
this
No.
is a way that I would consider to fix this. And again, I'm not saying this is the best way, because how many teams are in the lottery? It's like what, 16, isn't it? 16, like, am I?
Mhm.
So
Something
yeah,
like that.
16 teams, and I remember way back, when Orlando Magic was the first team to kind of get like that first pick for having the least odds. Like after Shaquille, then they got Penny Howard. Anyhow, like the first, so you got 16 teams, and yes, I get it. There's whatever ball system that they changed to now, blah blah blah. But maybe like the first pick could only be for like the first to eighth worst, and then from the second on, you include the other, six other
Mhm.
eight. I don't know, like, yeah, but then again, it's hard. You just, with LeBron flopping and all this other shit, it's just like everything just seems rigged. And I think that's, I don't know if it's just me or if it's killing the sport. I know there's some people who still love it, like you, obviously, because you love the Celtics. But I'm just like, I don't know why this stopped being fun to watch. I don't know. It's just, maybe I'm old man me. I'm like, give me the
I didn't
90s
have any
defense.
fun last night. It's like, I didn't have any fun last night, that's for sure. But ball is ball. Like, guys are out there balling out. They've never, like, they're better than they've ever been. Um, I think it's better than when it was just Ron Artest fighting fans in the fucking aisles. Like, I'm not saying it's perfect. Like, there are some really chintzy fouls, and they do protect players a lot more these days. But you get like technical fouls for flopping and shit. And they do review plays, um, for flagrants and things of that nature. So I don't know. I mean, most people's complaints with the game these days is that the Celtics were, a brand of basketball that's shooting a three. Well, fuck, dude. Like, a three is more mathematically advantageous than shooting a mid range. It just is. If you're going to shoot a mid range, just take a couple step backs and get behind the 3-point line, and it's just math. And they were built and they were in rotation. Their offense was built that way. Um, the things that the Indiana Pacers are doing, like with their screening and their offense, I mean, their shit's next level too. If you're a fan of the sport, you're a fan of the sport. You'll like it. If you're a casual fan of the sport, you like it for certain reasons, like, for example, you just like that brand of basketball that was in a much more older area, then that's for you. But football for you, you'll never stop watching football, no matter what fucking happens, right?
Yeah, I'm all in. Like we
You'll
joked about,
always
like
watch football.
I'm like I don't even care what two teams play. Obviously because of fantasy football, which is now that the Celtics are out, that's where our sports are heading towards now. Like let's get ready for fantasy.
No.
But you know what?
May, June, July, August, fuck preseason's right there, man.
We're getting close. I know they just have the NFL schedule, and I'm like, all right, we're slowly getting there. And now I'm curious also just the flag football they're going to do at the Olympics, because if they allow NFL players, I'm like, fuck, I might actually watch some of the Olympics now. So, but no, I'm excited. I'm always excited for football season, and just like, all right, what's new? What's going to happen? Let's see. We'll obviously talk about it during these weekly podcasts or close to weekly podcasts. I don't think we'll do like the sports picks, but every now and then we might, might throw in the bed.
that was an experiment.
It was, but
that's
what this is just all going to get everything into one. Once the 200 movie challenge is done, hey, we're going to talk about movies here. The sports, it's all just going to end up here on a weekly talk show, basically. But no, I mean, like basketball. I don't know. Like I said, there was different times, and hockey, though I don't follow like it, I don't know. I like it. That used to be fun too, but I just kind of stopped watching. So, we'll see. Maybe it's just old man Chad.
I never watched hockey. I never watch. My sports are, football. Football's my one. I've watched since I was a kid. Then I picked up baseball, and I love baseball. Celtics. I've only been watching the Celtics since 2000. I want to say 2017, 2018. So I'm relatively a newer Celtics fan. I started watching Celtics when Jason Tatum got drafted.
Well, I thought you told me you used to always talk to Fountain about watching the Celtics, though.
Yeah, so when I talked to Fountain, it was more like kind of surface level. Like I'd go over to his house and we'd watch games, but I wasn't really like into it.
Okay, gotcha.
I watched it, but it was like into it. But I was more of a casual basketball fan. Like I knew like the overall, like I followed like when Jordan was in the playoffs and everything. And then, the Celtics in that era with Antoine Walker and everything, it was kind of like whatever back when we were a Blockbuster. But one of my bosses that I worked for in another company, I wanted something to be able to talk to him about in sports. And so out of just kind of wanting to him and I to have a deeper friendship, I started watching the Celtics. And then every day, I'd come in the office and be like, "Oh, let's talk about what happened at the game last night, everything." And so I got into it. I figured getting into it when they drafted Jason Tatum was like a good entry point, and then I've been watching it, pretty much since then. So, so it's been a fun ride. I got to see one championship team, so I've seen like a championship for every team that I've liked in New England now. With obviously the Patriots and the Red Sox and Celtics now. So, and I'm going to continue to be a Celtics fan, just like you're a Bears fan. It doesn't matter. You're a Bears fan.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the win percentage is. It's like,
doesn't matter anything.
Just do something.
You're gonna watch them because that's your fucking team. And I'm sorry, I hate to gatekeep, but if there's one thing I can't get out of my system, and I'm trying to be a better human being, but I cannot stand people that are like that just change their sports allegiances over and over again and go for front runners, for example, like or are always like fans of whoever's the best team. You and I will never see eye to eye. Like as a human being, I will never be able to say eye to eye with you. Like you're from somewhere or you like a team because you were from somewhere, that's a team for the rest of your life. That's my rule. So maybe I'll get softer on that, but I feel like that's just
no.
You have a team.
No,
you stick with your team through thick and thin. Stick to your fucking team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
It's basically the rule of thumb is, I would say pick a team at the beginning of the season. It doesn't change till the end of the season.
Yeah, for God's sake.
Like it's hard because it's like I don't get why, maybe you have a favorite player, and I'm not trying to justify it. It's just like, but if that player goes down, I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It's
follow a player to other teams, maybe, I don't know. But even that's kind of iffy with me because Brady went to Tampa Bay. I didn't become a fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. Fuck, you think I'm going to be a Bucks fan? I was happy for Tom Brady to win another championship and to win, a title. but I wasn't all of a sudden like there was a lot of New England fans who were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go fucking, I'm gonna buy a fucking Tom Brady Buccaneers jersey." I'm like, go right ahead. I'm gonna watch this shitty ass Patriots team because that's
Who
my
I
fucking team.
am. And we got Mac
You know,
Jones. Oh no, we got Cam Newton. Now we got Mac Jones, and now we got Drake May. Oh,
oh,
so you're
God.
starting to sound like a Bears franchise right now.
God help us all. But you know what? What choice do I have, Chad? What choice do we have but to love the teams that we have?
Well, you know what? Next time, I'll come with these beer can chicken chips. We'll just,
Nice.
drown
Sounds
ourselves in our
gross.
sours. Like
Sounds
here,
good. If I
beer
see
and
some
beer.
disgusting shit, I'll let you know. Next time I go to Market
It's
Basket, I'll
like I
let you
said, the
know.
beer can. It's not. I'm not saying it's not bad. It's just not great. I'm just never gonna buy it again. The grill
Yeah.
beer, that's the thing. It's not like, oh damn, I gotta get this shit again. No, I know. It's not disgusting because I will eventually eat them all. Just not today.
Yeah.
But anyhow. Oh. All right. So, anything else on your mind before we probably end this for today? I think
No,
we've been
I
on
think
for a little
I
bit.
think we covered quite a lot.
We had a lot of talk about dreams, fucked up dreams, messed up dreams, don't shit your
Yeah, we
pants
did.
kind of dreams. But that's a story for another day. So
We did. We really fucking did. And so I guess what's next on the docket, right? We're gonna watch the movies this weekend and
yeah,
get
so
the
I have
knowledge.
so Thursday we'll record our 200 movie challenge like we always do.
Mhm.
So I will talk about that, and then next week we'll do this again. Just come up with some whatever topics. I'm sure we'll talk about
Yeah,
Saturday night's main
absolutely.
event a little bit, and who knows what
Rhea
comes up
Ripley.
during the week. She's not on the show yet. All I said is
She's on a
there's.
tag team. I thought you had a tag team,
I said
like
it's
her and
looking
Io
that way. I
Sky.
said it's not official, but it's looking
Oh,
that way. So who knows?
you
But
make
it's
me you
not
make me
booked.
sad.
It's not booked. Like I said,
The mommy world order, man.
hey,
MWO. Part of it.
MWO for life.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my
Give
God.
me the riptide.
Could you name every member of the NWO?
Do I remember the
No, I
NWO?
said, can you name every member of the NWO?
Oh no, dude, because it eventually became the whole fucking like it was all in WCW at one point, and then there was NWO, and then there was NWO Wolfpack, of which like Sting was a part of as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that whole they had a really good heel turn, and they had a pretty cool gimmick that's still kind of like iconic, obviously now, but they didn't do much with it. It just became who's gonna join the NWO, which was really really stupid.
Yeah, but I'm trying to pick, bring this up real quick. I know, just out of curiosity. Um, Holy shit. Okay. So the following, and I'm not going to read the list, obviously. I'm just going to read this real quick. Um, the following is a list of members of the New World Order, NWO. Professional Wrestling Stable and World Championship Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and World Wrestling Federation Entertainment. Because remember, when WWE bought out WCW, NWO came there too and few new members. But here's where I really want to get to before we end this. There was a total. Hold on, so let's play a game. Sorry, don't pull. How many, like just a number, how many members of the NWO total? Now, mind you, that's WCW, New Japan, and WWE. But if without looking at anything right now, how many members? Just give me a number. What would you guess?
I feel like it's like 32 or 33 or some shit. That's like the first time it comes out of my brain.
Oh, if it was only that low, Soto. You ready? There was a total of 79 members of the group in its existence. Missing are the
That-
Nasty Boys who are in it for one night only. Like,
That is fucking dumb.
one night.
That is fucking dumb.
But
Oh my
I
god,
don't know.
79 members.
Oh my god. Yeah, this gives up. So this is like, now I'm looking at the order of the all. Like I could literally quickly read this off, but damn. I don't want to bore the
70
shit.
fucking people. Yeah. It's like reading
So yeah,
stats.
obviously, yeah, I'm yeah, like the Japan ones, I was like, whatever, but it's like, holy shit, yeah, I remember that, and oh my god. Who was the last member? Let's just kind of go to the end. Like, this is still going. Oh, Shawn Michaels was the last member.
Michaels joined the NWO?
Technically, yes, because again, when they brought it to WWE, they started growing it. So it was Nash, Hall. I think they had I don't know if the Big Show was part of it, like Booker T and Shawn Michaels, because obviously, the Click. But then Kevin Nash got injured, and then they just killed the whole angle. So that,
Yeah.
But yeah, Shawn
Kevin Nash like
Michaels.
tore his quad or something, right? Did something terrible to his leg. I remember.
Yeah, I mean, what happens when you can't really wrestle? But anyhow,
Yeah.
that will do it for us today. Yeah, we will be back next week, and I know we'll talk about Saturday night's main event, and who knows what we'll come up with from the week. So, we had messed up dreams, that kind
Absolutely.
of led the conversation, but just random shit.
It'll continue to happen.
So, anyone that makes it to the end, thank you for staying, and we'll talk to you next week.
Woohoo!